Olympic champion who inspired a nation. How could thieves steal her precious medal?
To me, it means a lot. It means a lot to my family. It means a lot to the whole of Britain.
The Mountain Rescue Team, on call 24 hours a day. And how could anyone steal bikes from servicemen fighting their way back from injury? You're watching Crimewatch Roadshow. Hello and welcome to Crimewatch Roadshow. We're live and we need your help to catch crooks and get them behind bars. On today's show, the crime wave affecting anglers up and down the country.
There's a lot of gear. There's 40-odd thousand pounds worth of stuff stolen. Your heart just sinks.
And how hanging baskets are helping to keep kids in Durham on the straight and narrow.
Can I just say, do not drop them.
Today, Sian is by the sea in sunny County Durham at the beautiful CM Harbour Marina.
Morning, Rav. Sport is our theme today, and we're going to be hearing from young footballers, anglers and from the Help for Heroes triathletes. They've all been the victims of crime.
Thank you, Sian. First, though, we head to a small museum in Scotland where an exhibition meant to inspire visitors with mementos of sporting glory led instead to a devastating theft.
Rona Martin, one last delivery for Olympic gold. It needs to be absolutely perfect.
Rona Martin put curling on the map in the UK with a dramatic win at the 2002 Winter Olympics.
She's done it!
Thankfully, it came off. Sweepers judged it well, and it came off, and we won. So it was just a great feeling.
Rona's win made her a national hero.
The Olympic champions and gold medalists, Team Great Britain.
And she's still involved in the sport today, coaching the Great Britain Olympic team.
You know, it does give me great satisfaction to think that my win in Salt Lake City and my team's win, with all of us visiting schools, that is what is important, that you're inspiring the next generation.
So when a small museum in Dumfries asked Rona if she could help with an exhibition they were planning, she agreed.
They asked if I get any Olympic memorabilia that I could give them, and I said yes, absolutely. And they said, could we borrow your medal? And I said, yes, okay. And they said, it'll be in a reinforced glass case, so don't worry. And I was like, yeah, that's fine, no problem. So I gave them all the memorabilia and I gave them the medal.
The exhibition opened to the public back in April.
Everybody remembers when Rona had that final curling stone, and for people to actually be able to come and see the medal that she won as a result of it was very special.
Every day the museum closes its doors to the public at 5 o'clock. But on Wednesday the 30th of April, a gang of thieves were determined to pay an out-of-hours visit to the exhibition. Jemmying their way through the door, they broke into the museum. The heavy-duty security shutter wasn't strong enough to deter the criminals. Once inside, they knew exactly where to go. They smashed their way through the heavily reinforced glass of the display cabinets, grabbing valuable historical artifacts. Then they spotted an even bigger prize, Rona's Olympic gold medal. The whole burglary took just 1 minute and 40 seconds. This really was a smash and grab.
I walked into the gallery where the medal had been and all the other items that were stolen, and it was just appalling. I couldn't believe how much glass there was, how much damage had been done. The staff were just so devastated. I know one or two people were in tears. A colleague and I went home after we'd done as much as we could that evening, and neither of us could sleep.
Within hours, Rona was informed of the break-in.
Before they even said what had happened, I knew in my heart what they were going to tell me. So it was a disappointing blow because, you know, curling's had a great year, the exhibition was fantastic to promote our great sport, and then all of a sudden I thought, oh no, I've just lost my medal.
In total, £34,000 worth of items were stolen. The loss of her 2002 medal has left Rona devastated.
This theft of a medal, my medal, you know, to me it means a lot. It means a lot to my family, it means a lot to the whole of Britain.
Brian Lee from Police Scotland is leading this investigation. Brian, the value put on the items taken in all is some £30,000, but Rona's Olympic gold medal, that's priceless, isn't it?
Yes, it is. The Olympic Committee destroy each mould after the Games, so it's impossible to replace Rona's medal.
Right, and this happened, what, just 12 days after that exhibition opened, so there was Rona's medal taken, but also there were other items as well.
Yes, that's correct. There's other items stolen. There was a Royal Caledonian curling medal belonging to Hannah Fleming. There was a 1924 Olympic gold medal. There was a number of other medals. There was also a bird goose casket and also a provost chain stolen.
Right, so a number of items that were taken, very distinctive items there.
Were, yes.
You do have some CCTV. What does that tell you?
Yeah, CCTV shows 3 persons actually entering the premises about 10 past 10 on the 30th of April. They've clearly went equipped with items to assist breaking in, such as crowbars or similar. We're also keen to establish what vehicles have been used for them to travel to and from the premises. So anybody who's been in the area at the time, obviously we're keen to hear from them.
So what do you think could have happened to these exhibits?
Yes, they may have been disposed of, they may have went to jewellers, they may have went to collectors. But the worst case scenario is that they may have went to scrap metal dealers.
So they actually might have just been melted down?
Yes, they may have been melted down. That's certainly one aspect of it we're considering. The reality is that certain aspects of the medals contain very little gold content. Certainly the value of gold is far less than the value of a medal that's inspired a nation.
And it's really important for Rona to get this back, isn't it?
Yes, we're obviously trying everything we can and obviously appealing to the public to assist us in ensuring that Rona gets her medal back.
OK, thank you very much. Of course, Rona is desperate to get that Olympic gold medal back and all those other important exhibits as well that the museum had on show. If you can help, get in touch as soon as you can.
Now it's time to have a look at today's wanted faces, and we start with this man. This is Steve Marcel, although he also calls himself Andre Marcel. South Wales police want to question him in connection with an incident in which a woman was assaulted and several offences of criminal damage. The 43-year-old has links to Cardiff, Bristol and Gloucester. He's considered dangerous, so please don't approach him, just call 999. Next up is this man. This is David Blood, although he also uses the name Stuart Blood. The 48-year-old is wanted by police after he failed to return to Ford Open Prison in West Sussex. He was serving a life sentence for robbery and firearms offences. Blood is 6'1" with a Midlands accent and a 2-inch scar on his right eyebrow. He has links to Staffordshire, Warwickshire and Leicestershire. This here is Sam Badham. The 29-year-old is wanted for questioning by detectives in Manchester in connection with a serious sexual assault. Badham is originally from Mongolia but has links to Manchester and London. And finally, do you recognise our last wanted face of the day? This is Jonathan Lewis Brown. He was jailed for 6 years for possession of a firearm and released early from prison last June. He's failed to stick to the conditions of his release and is now wanted back in prison. 25-year-old Brown has links to the Lambeth and Thornton Heath areas of London. So, can you tell us where any of these faces are? If so, make sure you pick up the phone. You can call us on 08000 468 999. Calls are free from most landlines, but some networks and mobile operators will charge. Or text us on 63399. Text will be charged at your standard message rate. Of course, you can email us to the address cwr@bbc.co.uk. Now, when the police are called out to find a missing person, they can't always search everywhere themselves. In Durham, the people they turn to are the mountain rescue volunteers, whose work extends far beyond their job description.
Meet the recruitment consultant, the tree surgeon, the retired fire officer and a company director. All people with jobs that don't exactly risk life and death. But when they do get the call, that's exactly what they'll do. Meet the mountain rescue team.
We're available 24 hours a day, 365 days a year as a team. Our team does around about 40 calls per year.
Steve and his team volunteer their time to provide a search and rescue service for the whole of County Durham, from the high fells in the west to the coastal communities of the North Sea.
We also do an awful lot of calls in the semi-urban areas around the towns, and the type of people that we're not looking for is not particularly just missing walkers. It could be missing children, it could be elderly with dementia, or it could be people who we call despondents, who are depressed and potentially want to go and commit suicide.
With 2 major rivers and 7 large reservoirs in their area, it's no surprise that many of the team's rescues are water related. When a student went missing in Durham city centre last May, the team were called in by the police to assist in the search.
When we got there, we were briefed and we discovered it was a search for a student who'd gone missing in the early hours of Sunday, had been missing ever since, and was thought it was possible that he'd gone into the river at that stage.
It's for incidents like this that the team train regularly to keep their skills up to speed. Today's exercise is at Abbey Rapids, 25 miles outside Durham.
Any sort of rescue on water is potentially very hazardous, so our people have got to be trained up. In fact, we train up exactly the same way as the water rescue teams do within the fire service. We get the same qualification.
The aim of the exercise is to find and recover one of their own team, posing as an injured walker who's fallen into a fast-flowing river. To carry out an effective search, they have to scour every little bit of the river bank from every angle.
What we're going to do in this case is we are going to send one of our medics across on a tethered line. They will swim across, get there, start making the assessment.
The noise from the rapids above is so loud, the team communicate with whistles and hand signals. The victim is trapped by steep rocks on the river bank, so the team needs to formulate a plan to get her out safely. They decide the safest way is to use an inflatable sled.
We'll then put the casualty onto the sled, we'll bring it back across this way in a pendulum motion, and from there we'll take the casualty out of the water, out of the sleds, and we'll hand over to the ambulance service.
It's a successful search and recovery, but these are drills that have to be practiced frequently to maintain their effectiveness.
For us, it's critical that we get time to do this, because we're all volunteers, so we often get called out when we're at work, and at weekends we look at the time to use to train to practice for real incidents.
In Durham, the search for the missing student was long and difficult.
We were looking in the shallows. We had our canoe team was out searching the river as well, and we spent all day, really. We were out all day looking for him, and no sign.
The next day, a group of rowers made the discovery all rescuers dread. The body of Luke Pearce, a first-year engineering student at Durham University, was found.
You need to steel yourself to that. You're expecting to find a body, not expecting to find a live person. But you know that out there's a family who are waiting for news. And what could be worse for them than just hanging on and not knowing what's happened?
In the last year alone, 8 young people have lost their lives in the region's rivers.
The families are going to be extremely upset, and we realise that. In fact, we are from time to time as well. But as I say, hopefully that by us finding their loved one, it does bring some sort of closure.
Well, as we heard in the film there, the families of missing people desperately need closure to find out what has happened to their loved ones. And Detective Superintendent John Green joins me now. You've been investigating for the past 3 years the disappearance of a young father. What happened there?
Yeah, well, Scott was 27 when he went missing. He was last seen on the 11th of May 2011, which is obviously over 3 years now, and he was last seen in the Wingate area of County Durham. Scott was a family man with 2 children, a wide array of friends in the Hartlepool and North East area, and very popular.
So what have you been doing over the years to try to find Scott Fletcher?
Well, in the subsequent time since he was last seen, we've spoken to over 300 people. Clearly, appeals to the media are really important in terms of reaching out to people who might have information in relation to where Scott may have been since that date.
Very, very difficult for his family, and we can hear from Scott's mum now.
Totally out of character for Scott to leave his 2 children, so we're in a total quandary. There's not been any clues or information from the day he went missing. As more time goes on, logic would say something has happened to him, he hasn't contacted us. But then as a mother I think, well, wouldn't I have known that? Wouldn't I have felt that? I mean, we've cried that many tears for him. We just need to know what's happened to him. He's our child, and we need to know.
Well, Julie Fletcher is worried that something has happened to Scott. Do you believe he has come to any harm?
It certainly can't be ruled out. What we did know is that Scott may have had some debt when he went missing, and some of his associates from the criminal fraternity. Given the passage of time, we can't rule it out. What I would say is I am absolutely sure there's people with information that haven't shared that with us, and I would appeal to those people to come forward and pass that information to us.
What do you know about what he was doing on the day that he did go missing?
Well, on the day he was missing, he was with friends. He was dropped off in the lay-by in Wingate on the A181 on the evening of that night, and his whereabouts from that point is a mystery, really. I would really appeal to people who I am actually sure do have information in relation to his whereabouts to come forward to allow Scott's family to have some closure in relation to what's happened to him.
Absolutely, and if you can help bring some closure to Scott's family, please do get in touch with us.
Now let's see if you can help us identify the crooks who made the mistake of committing their crimes on camera. We're at a train station in south-east London last summer. This guy looks like he's been shopping. Check out his pink spotty bag. But he's not here to catch a train. He's got another destination in mind. He waits for the booking clerk to leave her office. She collects 2 card reading machines, and while she does that, the man appears to adjust what looks like a black wig. Suits you, sir. Then, as she returns to the office, he ambushes her. He forces his way inside, tells her to open the safe and ties her hands together. 5 minutes later, he leaves with cash worth more than £6 grand in 2 bags, including that pink spotty one. Do you know who this great train station robber is? Call us if you do. It's a few minutes before opening time at this bank in the Peak District town of Hathersage. But this isn't a typical morning. A robber can be seen lurking behind the counter after he and another man broke into the bank hours earlier and laid in wait for the staff. Police say they threatened them with a handgun and tied them up in a back room. During the raid, the men seize £108,000 in cash and leave by the front door. Detectives say a security device covered some of the money in red dye when it was taken and want to hear from anyone who's been given cash with the dye on it. Officers are also keen to speak to this passerby in the orange coat, who was seen on Main Road in Hathersage between 8 and 9 that morning, as he may have vital information. There's also a 15 grand reward for info, leading to the arrest and conviction of the offenders. If you've got any information on those characters, you know what to do. Our contact details are on the screen and we are waiting to hear from you. Sean.
Now, every week, millions of anglers take to the waters right across the UK. But now it seems it's the criminals who are getting away with the biggest catch.
The peace and tranquility of a day out fishing by the waterside. Casting the stresses and strains of everyday life aside. Mike Davis is a keen angler.
Well, I've been a fisherman for, well, since I was a child. Started off, you know, as you do, you get a fishing rod for a birthday or Christmas or something like that, and I just got hooked.
A motorbike accident in 1989 left Mike disabled.
There's not an awful lot of sports that I suppose I can do comfortably, and fishing's just something that I've learnt to adapt to.
It's taken him years to build up his collection of tackle.
You never stop collecting tackle. You're always open to something new. A fishing pole can range from £30 or £40 to £5,000. So if you want to have the Ferrari of fishing tackle, you've got to pay the price.
But last September, Mike's enjoyment of this tranquil sport was spoilt by thieves.
Put all my equipment away, locked it up, you know, a couple of padlocks and everything, and a hasp on the box on the drive. Never thought anything else of it.
But the next morning, the chest had been broken into and £5,000 worth of fishing gear had been stolen.
To start with, I just thought, well, what am I going to do? How am I going to replace that amount of equipment and get it all back to where I was?
Fishermen across the UK believe they're being targeted. Andrew Ben, who runs his own angling business, has been shocked by the rise in the number of thefts from his fellow fishermen.
There's stories of anglers being followed home from fishing venues and then their sheds, garages, houses being broken into just to steal their tackle. Anglers save up for a lot of years to get better and better tackle, spend a lot of money on it, work hard to get it, and then for it just to be taken, and then they have the hassle of claiming through the insurance companies, which can be a problem in itself.
Andrew knows only too well how upsetting it is to be a victim of theft.
Last July, my warehouse was broken into on a Tuesday night, and they've more or less wiped out everything. There's a lot of gear, a lot of gear. There's £40,000 worth of stuff stolen. Your heart just sinks, absolutely sinks, because that represents 25 years of business in this trade.
It's really left me sick and dismayed that, you know, somebody would want to go and rob somebody, not of the tackle, but of their enjoyment as well.
Well, with me now is Jan Porter, who many people will know because you've been a very successful angler. Those in the angling fraternity, you're a very famous face. And also Dilip Saka from the Angling Trust. Jan, tell us what happened to you, because you've been a victim here.
Yeah, I've been targeted a few times over the years, as many high-profile anglers have, van broken into, etc. But last September I got hit really badly on a very secure garage, brick-built garage, and had over £20,000 worth of equipment stolen. Some of which I did recover through an auction site, and the police were very, very helpful in pursuing that. And another load of it was found at a local car boot sale, and I was able to identify it very easily because a lot of it was prototype stuff, and so I was able to recover it. But that's not always the case, and my advice would be to make sure you get your insurance right, because mine wasn't, and just make every effort to secure your equipment, because people are targeting fishing tackle a lot more than they were before.
And you did say that other anglers are really experiencing this problem. It's a growing problem, isn't it?
It is indeed, and it's easy to shift and easy to move on, and especially when you know, things are tough, people want bargains, and there's nothing, you know, better than getting a cheap bit of kit at a local car boot sale, and that's where it's going.
And that's a huge blow to you and the anglers. Dilip, you are fighting back, though. Tell us about what you're trying to do to, well, really make sure the thieves can't pass this stuff on.
Well, the problem is identifying the property, even if it is recovered. So what we're doing is working with a leading crime-fighting company to provide our members with a unique solution. I mean, this is a forensic marker which makes property traceable back to its owner, and it's got a 100% conviction rate in court. It's wonderful stuff. This is really going to help, and it's very easy to apply. You just put it on the product, on the property, and under UV light it shows up perfectly. So the idea is that is uniquely traceable to that owner. And that is just absolutely brilliant. You know, criminals need to get the message that fishing tackle is marked with this forensic marker, and don't touch it. because if they do, they'll be marked with it, the property's traceable back to the owner, and you're going to get convicted.
OK, well, thank you very much. I don't know if you could see there, but I could see in daylight that there was a green light there.
Absolutely.
Clearly showing up. And if you're an angler and you're interested in finding out more about this, you can get some details on the website.
Still to come on today's show. The kids' football team targeted by vandals 6 times in just 1 season.
It's like really upsetting because we keep having to buy them and then all the money's going to waste.
And we need your help to find the thoughtless thieves who stole bikes from these former soldiers during a charity ride.
Now, we've all heard the saying that prevention is better than cure. Durham Constabulary is putting that into practice in the methods it's using to nurture local youngsters and root out youth crime.
You might not think it, but these plants are helping to reduce crime in Durham.
That's thyme. Smell that. Run your hands over that.
No.
God, it smells nice, it smells nasty.
They're part of an operation which aims to prevent young people from becoming victims of crime or entering the criminal justice system themselves. PC Ian Robertson coordinates this gardening project.
When it was given to me to develop as a project, I was a little bit sceptical, thinking I didn't think young people would particularly like it. And how wrong I was just amazed at how much they liked it and how much they were engaged in it.
Oh, that's so nice.
I feel great because I'm really lucky to come here, and it's like a really good opportunity for the future.
One young person who has benefited from the project is Kieran.
I got excluded one time, but this has just got everything off my head. Kept us good, well behaved in school to make sure I would come again. So I was bad behaved, I wouldn't be able to come.
A result of this project is the new relationship between the police and the young people.
Before I got to know any of the kids, they wouldn't speak to us. They saw the police as there's a barrier there. But because I'd been and got involved with them doing something that they enjoy and speaking to them and just asking them about what they like doing, they would speak to me much more openly outside. And I think it's reduced that barrier, and that's been pretty clear.
Is all the tools away?
I've had bad history with the police, mate, like a few times, different things. But since I started coming here, I've got used to them. I've got to know them by the personality, and just become friends with them, really.
Can I just say, do not drop them. They are going to the children's centre. They want to go in one piece. Okay? What's great is the community can see young people transforming them bits of land that nobody else is doing anything with, so that it improves the perception of young people in their own community where they live.
But it's not just gardening where officers are using their skills to engage with young people.
Summer Fishy is a fishing scheme which was developed over a period of 18 months to link in with the children and the youth of Seaham and the North East coastal area, so that we can break the barriers between the police and the youths, give them something to do and keep them out of the judicial system. The area was hit badly when the mines closed down. There's a lot of unemployment. And basically there's not the money around to give the kids something to do. The sea's on the doorstep, it's free, and it just seemed to get them out, get them fishing, and give them a hobby, give them a purpose.
And he's got a helping hand in the form of Niall, who completed the course last year.
I enjoy fishing, and it'd be good to spend some time with my mates and then get to know the place better.
The 9 that we've had on the course have been model students, model children for the last 5 months. Kept their noses clean, they're not into trouble, they're doing well at school, they're just better kids for coming on it, I suppose.
Wow, thank you. Look at those.
Back in Ushermore, the kids have been busy in the community garden and they're donating the fruits of their labour to a local nursery group.
We've now got about 8 projects running across County Durham, which is fantastic. You see the children and the young people in the community, all smiles, working together to create something that they can look back on in years to come and be proud of.
Now, for injured servicemen and women, sport plays a vital part in their rehabilitation. And I'm joined now by some members of Team True Spirit from Help the Heroes. Mark, you set up this team. Tell us a bit about it.
We set up to basically help the guys with the physiological and psychological well-being to help them on the recovery pathway. It's good for them to be part of a team and to get back into sort of a bit of order in their lives, a bit of training, and to have something to train for and a goal to aim for.
Now, unfortunately, though, your fight back to fitness, it has been affected by crime, hasn't it? What happened?
We went down to do a warm-up race, Cotswolds 113 for the Ironman up in July, and we woke up on the morning with the guys running around like a herd of elephants, screaming and crying that the bikes had been stolen. We had 12 of the bikes of the 24 were actually stolen from the site.
Shocking, and that was actually Father's Day as well, wasn't it?
It was as well.
OK, well, it's terrible things have happened here. We've got similar bikes here, haven't we? I mean, do you think that whoever took them will have known that they were Help for Heroes bikes?
They couldn't have not known that they were Help for Heroes bikes. The wagon that was all logoed up for the Help for Heroes was right in the middle of the campsite, and also the tents had the Help for Heroes banners all over them.
OK, well, let's try and get them back. And Dean, you've got a very poignant story, really, about why you've got involved with Help for Heroes, and of course your bike was stolen too.
Yeah, well, like you said, working for Help for Heroes now, it's given us a new lease of life. I mean, I never wanted to leave the army, but back in 2010, I got blown up and I suffered a traumatic brain injury. And obviously I got medically discharged because of it. But now working for Help for Heroes, being able to give something back, and like help rehabilitate other soldiers like myself, it's given us a new lease of life, especially Team True Spirit. Like going for Ironman, it was just like a pipe dream before my injury. I could never swim, but now with help of Team True Spirit, it's really like become a possibility. But then obviously my bike was stolen, and that's just has put a spanner in the works, so to speak.
Absolutely, and really upsetting for everybody, I know, as well, because Paul, you lost that bike, didn't you? You'd only had it at Christmas.
Yeah, I only received my bike from Help for Heroes, who funded the bike for me at Christmas. I was struggling to, having been medical discharged from the army myself, struggling to be a part of the team, and Mark got me involved with Team True Spirit and cycling, and I was training for this Ironman event next month, and to wake up on the morning and the bikes were gone, it was absolutely gutting that all that training could potentially now go to waste.
Oh, and Michaela, just the last word to you, your final soldier. Everyone's very upset, but they're not giving up, are they?
Absolutely not, no. Team True Spirit by name and most certainly by nature.
OK, well, that's the message that everybody wants to give. And if you can help, remember this only happened a couple of weeks ago, back on Father's Day. Help get these bikes back, the Help for Heroes team.
Now, let's take a look at a long-running investigation, the murder of teenager Marcus Hall back in 2001. DI Tim Redfern from Bedfordshire Police is with us, as well as Marcus's mum, Iselin. Thank you both for coming in. Iselin, I'll be with you in a moment. Tim, if you can just tell us what happened all those years ago.
Yes, it was 20th of March 2001, Tuesday evening. Marcus and his friends decided to drive up from where they live in Peckham to a garage music night that was being held at the Atmosphere nightclub in Luton Town Centre. They got into the club quite late, sometime around midnight, and we know that about 2 AM everyone turned out from the club onto the street. What started the fight that ensued we don't know to this day, but a fight erupted outside with Marcus and his friends against another group, and weapons were produced, and tragically Marcus was fatally injured.
Yeah, now, you've been working very hard on this case for a number of years, and a number of people have been arrested, charged and convicted of this, but there's still one more person that you want to trace.
Yes, that's right. We've never stopped looking for Adebayo Eakin, who's the 8th person we're looking to trace and convict for his part in this crime.
OK, now we can see some CCTV of the night. It's not the greatest quality, but this is circled there is the person that you want to trace right now. This is him. What's going on here, Tim?
Yeah, this is Adebayo Eakin on the way towards Park Street West in Luton, which is away from the nightclub. Marcus and his friends have run off in this direction so that Adebayo can hear, and the others are just about to catch up with him.
OK, now it's a bit of a blurry image, but we do have a clearer picture. Again, this was taken several years ago, but this is the man you want to identify. We can see it at home now. You can see this is the person there. How old is this photo, Tim?
Yeah, this picture is actually about 17 years old, so you have to bear in mind that now that he will look, he's 37 years old now, and so he'll look considerably older. But the appeal more is to people who know him,
yes,
and knew him at the time, and may know his current whereabouts.
OK, now Iselin, I know that this must be very, very difficult for you to be here, but you wanted to be here so that people at home knew just how much it would mean to you and your family to have some form of closure here.
Marcus needs closure, I need closure, my family needs closure, and I'd appeal to anybody out there who knows where he is to get in touch with the police, get in touch with Crimewatch, and it'll never bring Marcus back, but it will be some sort of closure for us.
So it's so important for you, knowing that even though a number of people have been charged and convicted of this crime, there's one outstanding person, and you need that person to be caught and brought to justice.
Yes, we do.
And this is so difficult for your family to move on, isn't it, at the moment?
Yes, I mean, Christmas, birthdays, there's one person missing. It's not the same.
No.
Our family's not the same. It's a ripple effect, and...
OK. And Tim, I know that you're actually due to retire at the end of this year. You desperately want to find this individual, and if you don't, you're just going to hand the baton on to the rest of your team. This case will not close just because you're not here.
Absolutely, yes. I mean, the Beds, Cams and Herts major crime team have got this case, and they will continue to pursue Eakin, you know, if we're not able to capture him as a result of this appeal. But I just should remind people there's a £5,000 reward on offer for information that leads simply to the arrest of Adebayo Eakin. OK, thank you both for joining us. If you know where Adebayo Eakin is, then please do get in touch. As you just heard, there is a £5,000 reward which will be paid for information leading to the arrest of Eakin. And remember, if you'd rather pass on information anonymously, you can call Crime Stoppers on 0800 555 111.
Well, we've got plenty of sport on the show today, haven't we? Meet members of the Hardwick youth football team. These guys and gals are football crazy, but a series of break-ins has been cramping their style.
For the kids of Hardwick Youth Football Club in Stockton-on-Tees, there's only one place to be on a Saturday morning, and that's on the pitch.
Youth have been running for 20 years. We have 136 kids. The coaches and the managers are all volunteers. We want to play football and we want to coach them to play football.
We're all very close together as a team. We all have a good laugh and training and a good time.
We've been playing for the club about half a year, and I'm in centre back and he's in left back. Yeah, left back. And it's our first club, like, being in the team. It means everything to me because I really, really enjoy playing football for this club.
Unfortunately, the club doesn't mean as much to the criminals who have repeatedly targeted the team's training ground and equipment. 3 years ago, everything they owned was destroyed in a devastating arson attack.
Fire brigade were called, police came out, but there was just nothing left. When we had the arson attack, a lot of teams came forward, and if there was anything they could help us with, they were giving us anything that they could spare.
Although the club managed to get back on its feet, recent times have seen them knocked down again and again. The metal container they used to store their equipment has proved to be an easy target for thieves and vandals. It's been broken into 6 times this season alone. The most recent occurred sometime between 7 p.m. on Thursday, April 10th and the morning of Saturday, April the 12th.
The club used a steel container which is padlocked up and it's got some iron chains, and they've been snapped off. They've decided that we would damage and burn the nets, burn all the equipment, and probably because of the cold weather they've probably had a fire to warm themselves.
Their party over, the thieves left behind a trail of destruction to greet the children the next day.
Came up to the field on the Saturday morning, and the big field behind there, was just covered in debris what they'd smashed.
And we just see it all across all the field. It was all being stamped and then smashed up. We come here just to play footy on a Saturday and we can't properly.
It's hard to try and explain to the kids because we don't know why.
Sad. And like that we don't have this stuff anymore.
Trying to replace the stolen and damaged equipment has already cost the club over £5,000.
It is a lot of money. We ended up having to do raffles, race nights, fun days, basically begging from all the public.
It's like really upsetting because we keep having to buy them and then all the money is going to waste.
The club has also had to increase their security measures.
That's going to be a bit of a deterrent for them, but also to let them know we're not going to be beaten.
And Andy Ruddy and members of the team are with me now. Well, Andy, I'm almost afraid to ask after all of that how things are there now.
Fortunately for us, the break-ins have actually stopped. It's still a worry when we turn up for training, but like we say, fingers crossed, everything seems to have settled down.
Do you think that's because of the added security that you've got there now?
I think that's part of it. You know, we had it donated to us from a local company, so we're hoping that has deterred all the people that are doing it.
Yeah, so you've got some CCTV there now. Of course, these are football crazy kids and so disappointing for them to turn up, especially when they saw it in that state.
Yeah, it is. It's heartbreaking for the kids.
How is training going? Let's find out from some of them. And Mason, particularly, when you saw all that mess at the club, what did you think?
Well, I thought I was really sad because all of the money spent on the equipment and it's just gone to waste when it's been snapped. But all the money could go to good use, like getting up to tournaments.
Yeah, of course, because the money that you had to be spent on new nets and other equipment could go to today's out, couldn't it?
Yeah.
All right then, so what's the message that you want to give to these thieves, everybody? Total crime! I think that was just about loud enough, wasn't it? Hopefully they will get the message.
Thanks, Sian. I think I might have a job there. Right, just time for a quick update now that I can give you. A potential new lead has come in on the attack on Gerard Williams in a Middlesbrough park. Some of you also suggesting where the distinctive boiler suit the attacker was wearing may have come from. So thank you to everyone that's got in touch with those calls. Sian, tell us where you're going to be tomorrow.
Well, tomorrow, Rav, we're going to be at Stockton-on-Tees and the Tactical Training Centre for Cleveland Police. Now, we're going to be finding out how the community teams are tackling drugs because cannabis farms spring up in the most unusual of places and also how they are cracking down on the use of drugs in pubs.
Thank you, Sian. Now, if you'd like to watch any of the CCTV featured in today's programme, take a look at our website and you can check out our wanted faces online too. I'm going to leave you with another look at the faces now. If you know where they are, call us. Thank you for watching. Until tomorrow, take care.